in chapter 80. Tali dum pugnator modo. So while they were fighting, or while it was being fought, modo in this mode, in this way, tali of such a mode, tali is just of such. So while they were fighting in such a way or mode, lente, slowly, and paulatim, little by little, gradually, they proceeded. Means they advanced. Pro means going forwards. And crebro, frequently, they subsistunted. There's a little clause here. So that they might be an auxiliary to their own people. This is one of the, what are these called of datives? It's a double dative anyway. Suis means for their own people they were an auxiliary. So yeah, it's the double dative. It's in the dative download section. I can't remember what they're called. Ut tum accidit. As then, it happened. That's where we get the word accident. Accident means something happened. So while they were fighting in this way, little by little they proceeded. Frequently they'd stop to help their own people. And this is when something happened. Millia means 1,000. Anim, 4 progressi, it's plural, for they progressed 4 millia. We'll take that as miles actually, 1,000 feet's a mile. For they had progressed 4 miles. Vehementius is a comparative form of an adverb. Rather vehemently, they were per agitatio. So agitatio means being stirred up or harassed. Per again means thoroughly, or they were in some sort of state of being very agitated and greatly harassed. Ab equitatu, by the cavalry, and they capiunted. They seized or took an excelsum montem, a high mountain. And ibi, there, una fronte, with one front, contra, facing the hostem, facing the enemy, they muniunted, they fortified a castra, their camp, but neque is a negative. They did not deponent, they did not place down the onera, the burdens from the jumentus, the pack animals. Ubi, when Caesarus of Caesar, the castra posita, so when the camp had been placed of Caesar, and the tabernacular, the tents had been constituted, tents had been set up, and dimissos equities, the cavalry had been dismissed or sent out, you might want to say here, for the sake, causa, pabulandi, causes post-positive behind the gerund, in the genitive. So for the sake of foraging, they animadvertented, which means they noticed. So when they had noticed, you can go back and work backwards from here if you want, that the camp of Caesar had been placed and the tents had been set up, and he had sent out his equites, his cavalry, for the sake of getting fodder. Subito, suddenly they proripionted themselves. So they burst forwards. That's what pro means. Horus Circita Sexta, around the 6th hour, which is lunchtime, Eos Stem Die of the same day, and Spem, which means hope, Mora is a genitive, hope of delay, Nacti, so you might say they had obtained or thought there was a hope of a delay, Discesu Nostrum Equitum, they incipiented to facere in ita. They began to make a journey in the hope that there would be a delay by the discesu. The discesu means the leaving of our horsemen. So they were trying to take advantage of the fact that the horsemen were out getting fodder. So that's when they decided to make their journey around lunchtime. Qua re, re's female. So with which matter or circumstances, animadversa, again it's noticed, Caesar's the nominative. So Caesar, having noticed this fact that they'd set out on the journey, with refectus legionibusses, this means they're refreshed. There's an alternate reading of unencumbered legions, so subsequenta. So here in this reading from the Latin library, it means these were refreshed legions. He followed. Presidio, this is a garrison or a defence. He relinquitted. So he left a garrison of Porce's cohorts, a few cohorts as a garrison, with the impedimentus, with the luggage. So they were guarding all the gear, it looks like. So, ora decima. So having left at the 10th hour to subsequent to follow pabulators and the equites, so the people were foraging, and the knights he ordered to revocare, to come back. And celator quickly, the equitatus, these knights, add cotidianum itinerus officium to their cotidianum, their daily officium, to their duties. They reverted quickly to their duties itinerus on the march. Pugnator, it was fought, acrita, bitterly and fiercely, ad novissimum agmen, to the rear part of the column. Adiaut, to such an extent that Paeni almost, they had convertented their Turk, they had almost turned their backs, which means it's the common word for they were fleeing if they turned their backs. Cum plures qui milites, and very many milites, very many soldiers, etiam non nulli, which means some, even some centurions. So many soldiers, even some centurions, were interficated. They were killed. The agmen, the column, Caesaris of Caesar, was instabating, was pressing in hard, and universum, and so that would be all of them, and imminabating, which means threatening or being very imminent on them. 81. Tum, then, vero, I'll take that as a moreover, it's a but however sort of word. So moreover then, nequi, so we've got a negative, neither was there an idonius locum, a suitable place to explore for a camp, Castus' camp, and neither was there data given a facultate, that's the opportunity basically, to progrediendum, another gerund in the accusative. They all take these ad prepositions, so we've seen it twice here. So there wasn't a suitable place to pitch a camp, or were they given any opportunity to progress? So they consisteranted, they halted by necessario, by necessary. They were forced by necessity to stop, maybe you want to say, and procol, and they were far ab aqua, from water, and the natura in aqua loco, so they ponunted, they placed their camp in a place which was by nature iniquo, so it was uneven or disadvantageous. Disadvantageous, is that the word? So as usual, we'll have a daily dictionary word, we'll make it iniquous, even though I've probably done that on another day, but it's an adjective: unjust, unfair, unequal, uneven, unfavourable, disadvantageous, unkind or hostile or unsuitable. And you even have a table there of all these assa adjectives. Back to the plot. Said, but de is damn causes, concerning the same causes or reasons, Caesar, the nominative, for the same causes which supra sunt have been demonstrated, which have been demonstrated above, Caesar did not lassessit, he did not provoke prolio. That's the dative ablative form. And eo dio, and in that day, for that day, he did non passus, did not suffer to be statuied the tabernacles. He did not allow or suffer to be put up the tents. So he didn't allow the tents to be put up, in other words. Quo, looks like we're going to have a comparative, because this should be ut. Okay, so that they would be more prepared, so comparatives turn uts into quos, so that they would be more prepared, omnes, everyone, so everyone would be more prepared to in sequendum, to keep pushing on the tails of the enemy. Siv, either by noctu, by night, or siv, it's an alternate spelling of SEU or whatever the other spelling is, or interdio, or during the day. So either by night or during the day they would erumper it. They would keep bursting on, forcing themselves forwards, I'm guessing. Ilai. They, here we've animate adverso stuck together. Looks the ablative. So, with them having noticed the vitio, the fault of their castrorum, of their camp, the tota nocte, in the whole night they proferented their munitions. So this is their fortifications. Looks like they proffered them. They brought their fortifications more forwards, and they converted castra to castras. So they kept doing earthworks or whatever it was out in front, and they kept moving their camps forwards from camp to camp. Hoc, this, idem, the same, in the postero die. They did this in the same thing in the next day. A prima luce, from first light, they facionted, they did this, and the totem diem, and the whole day in a array. In this matter, they consumed. So they consumed the whole day from first light to the end of the day, I'm guessing, doing the same thing, moving their camps. Said quantum could be correlatives, but as much as they processorented, they proceeded forwards in their opere, in their work, and they protulerented their castra, and they bore forwards their camp. Here we go, tente. So much more they were aberrant, they were away, longius, comparative, even further from aqua, from water. And in their presenti malo, in their present troubles, remedied dabuntus. So the remedies they gave brought them alias malus. They were given other troubles or evils, whatever remedies they came up for with this. Prima nocte. In the first night, causa aquandi, for the sake of getting water, nemo, no one, e gratitud, no one was let out, ex cautious, from the camp to get water. On the proximo day, and then the following day, relicto, having left a presidium, a garrison in the camps, the universis, all of their copius, all their forces, they educanted, let out for this task of getting water. Nemo, again, no one was emitted, sent out for pabulatum, for food or fodder. So it looks like they were devoted to water. In these things, eos supplicare male habere Caesar. So Caesar considered for eos, for them to be supplicus male, to suffer these things badly, and necessarium sabere, and to be given over to the necessary deditionem, the necessary surrender. So he was considering this. Then, he prefers the verb. So Caesar preferred them to subire, to give them over to the necessary dedication, quam then, to decurtere, to contest this in a battle. So we can see from this bit, he was happy for them to be suffering from this sort of trouble. He's hoping to get them all to surrender. Conator, he tried, tamen, nevertheless, eos them, to circummunere them, to make fortifications around them by vallo and a fossa. Vallo is the rampart or earthworks that go upwards, and a fossa is a ditch that goes downwards. So that, quam maxime, as greatly as possible, if you know your quam and superlatives, so he would he would slow them down if there was a repentinous eruption. So if there was a sudden eruption of them, it would slow them down. Quo necessario, by which necessary thing he was existabanting, he was thinking that they would do in future. This is a future decensurus. This is like something going on in their minds. He was thinking that they would think that this would be necessary, something like that you might want to say. Almost done. Eli again, they, adducti, being led at also, and to an inopia of, so they were led by a lack of pabuli, of food or fodder, and quo looks like another ut with a comparative, and so that they would be expeditior, so they'd be more unencumbered, they ordered interfecti to be killed. Omnia sarcinaria jumenta. Omni is all, sarcinaria means the sacks and baggage, so the jumenta are the beasts. So they ordered to be killed all the sack-bearing beasts, or the beasts who carried their luggage, and etc. So they were led to do this. They had a lack of food, so by killing these animals, I guess they could eat them as well, and then they would all be unencumbered. Looks like they're sacrificing a lot of their luggage.